Hello, good morning, my cherished viewers. I hope you are all doing well. We thank God for giving us this day, free of charge. Of course, we didn't pay anything. And I thank you for joining me yesterday as we navigated through King Solomon, how sin brought him down. Initially, I treated sin, the overview of sin. Later, then I continued with the consequences of sin. This morning, we're going to continue. I'm sorry, I'm late, 7 minutes late. I was setting up and the network was not helping, so I'm sorry for that. My name is Joseph Atta. Actually, I attend Church of Christ and I'm in Takoradi. I'm in Ghana, West Africa, in my own room, doing my own recording. So this means that I can teach everywhere I go. This is not a studio where I need to go to a certain location. So wherever I am, I find myself in the world. So far as Facebook is there, I have data. I think I can go online to share the word of God with you. My page is Mining for the Truth. Mining for the Truth. Digging to discover the undiluted doctrines of Christ. The purpose is to share the truth. John 17 verse 17, John 8 verse 32, John 14 verse 6, A, or the B part. You can even read all. So to share the truth and then to share the word, John 1 verse 1, Genesis 1 verse 1. That's all. And I've been using English. In fact, a language is a way of living. It is an individual's choice. The world is ruled by literacy, and English has become the language of science and commerce throughout the world. I did Facebook, so I've chosen to use English to effect my teachings. And basically, people understand the English here more than any other dialect. That's why I've been using English throughout. I've chosen not to be using big words to confuse. For biblical studies, all learners must understand. So here is not a platform to intimidate or to underestimate anyone. I try to use simple grammar, and even I try to explain so that we will all understand. We are all learning. We are sharing ideas. I greet all my listeners: Dubai, Australia, USA, Ghana, everywhere in Ghana, or everywhere you are watching me live or will watch later. I thank you so much for making the time and even having the data, money to come online. It is not easy. I've been saying that if you don't want to sin, then be reading your Bible all the time or be studying the Bible all the time. Even Satan was defeated by Jesus Christ using the scriptures. So the only way in which Satan will fear you is by always being closer or getting closer to the Bible. Now, the more you study the Bible, the lesser you sin, the closer you get to God. That's why I've been saying that. I find it so interesting. You see boys and men, guys, gathered somewhere debating unnecessary. I've never heard any of them debating or contending on the Bible or using the Bible. It's all satanic influences. Sports, acting, movie stars, and the music. So the sports will lead to betting and others. They are all satanic influence. Why should you waste your time to sit somewhere to have argument on someone who doesn't even know you? The person does not know you. He knows you from nowhere. In fact, you cannot even go closer to him or her because he or she is a star. They move by bodyguards. So why are you wasting your time on him? He doesn't know you. He doesn't watch you. So why are you watching him? So you see the principles of life. Why people are wasting their time in vain? You could have stopped this unnecessary argument and plan your own future. You see. Anyway, God has created us to be free in choices. But at the end, don't blame anyone. Now you might be surprised why I've been sharing the word of God. I don't know the Bible much. I study the Bible. So if you want to know it, you must also study it. If you study it, you know it. That's all. All right. We move on with today's topic theme, and then who we are going to discuss with, or who will be on board for discussion. So topic is, do not love the world. 1 John 2 verse 15 and 16. And the theme is, be careful how you walk as wise, not a fool. Ephesians 5 verse 15 to 17. And today we are on the third Bible character. I told you that we're going to discuss about 4 biblical characters in the Old Testament who walked disorderly. And at the end, they had extreme consequences. So the first was Absalom. The second was King Solomon. And today is Samson, blinded by pride. Judges 14, verse 3. Samson. So the third person that we're going to discuss today is Samson, blinded by pride. All right, so let's see the introduction and then we move on. Once again, if you have any question, my numbers are 0248 026557. We also have 0262 723810. Rebecca, thank you so much. You commented on the video, same as Jibong. Thank you so much. In fact, I thank all of you for what you have been doing. I appreciate. God bless you so much. So we are on the introduction. Samson, blinded by pride. Blinded by pride. Judges 14, verse 3. So basically, let's try to introduce everything. It is not always strict to marry a Christian. So take note of this. It is not even specified in the Bible compulsory. John 3:16, marry a Christian. No. So it is not always strict to marry a Christian, but it is always dangerous marrying an unbeliever. When we say unbeliever, we mean someone who is outside your faith, or someone who does not even believe in God at all. It has a disastrous consequences. The Bible has warned Christians to refrain from pagan marriages. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14. I think yesterday I read over, but yesterday is not today. And listeners of today may be different from listeners of yesterday. So let's read. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 4. Sorry. Yeah, 6 verse 14, actually. I read. 6 verse 14. No, 2 Corinthians, sorry. Because what I see here is different from what is in my mind. So 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. I am there. Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what fellowship has light with darkness? So the Bible has warned Christians to refrain from pagan marriages. They could cause us to apostatize, as Solomon had with many wives. 1 Kings 11 verse 4. The Israelites had similarly strict guidelines. The Israelites had similarly strict guidance, as God did not want them to take wives or husbands outside the Israelite community. So Deuteronomy 7, verse 3 and 4. Let's read it again for the benefit of doubt. Deuteronomy 7, verse 3 and 4. You shall not intermarry with them, giving your daughters to their sons, or taking their daughters for your sons. Verse 4. For they would turn away your sons from following me. The me there is making reference to God. To serve other gods. Then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and he will destroy you quickly. So God had warned the Israelites, even in the Old Testament. He has also warned us in the New Testament. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14. to avoid intermarriage or interfaith marriage. You must marry from your faith. I sitting here, there's no way I'll marry outside Church of Christ. It is impossible. Even the Church of Christ, I will not even marry from different congregation. Where I church is where, because that is where I know them. Even in the same church, there's no way I'm going to trespass to sister church or different branch. No, because I don't know this person. I don't even visit other churches. I will marry from my church. My own church is where I marry from. And this is what the Bible is saying. At least, today is Sunday. Supposing that my wife is around, the moment she sees that I am live on Facebook, she will understand. What of different faiths? Maybe by now, she will be preparing soup, and she wants you to come and then join her at the kitchen. Or she will be doing different things to distract or to disturb. She might even be watching television, because her faith is different from my faith. Because of understanding. Because of mutual, it is not even understanding per se. Mutual understanding. That's why Bible forbid interfaith or intercultural marriages. I won't even say intercultural, interfaith marriage. Of course, the Israelites, they could have classified as intercultural. Now, let's define interfaith marriage. Interfaith marriage is a marriage between a Christian and a pagan. And I will also reiterate, yesterday I defined pagan. But pagan comes from the Greek word ethnos. Ethnos. E-T-H-N-O-S. Referring to people who did not believe in the true living God. Or in the true and living God. Anyone who does not believe in God is a pagan. This word was also used to describe Gentiles or nations. It could be a whole nation or a whole country in which they don't believe in God. They are they are pagans. It could be idolatrous, people who worship lesser gods, or unbelievers. They don't even go to church at all. Or heathens, people who does not acknowledge the God we have in Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. They do not acknowledge God at all from their lives. And people like that, I can't even work with them because they won't even go to church. In fact, they don't know God. So sometimes you see your friend or you see your father, your brother, your sister who has not been employed, and you are always accusing him or her unnecessarily. Maybe all the work or the interviews that he or she has attended, they are all against his or her faith. That you go to work the whole day, the whole week, from Sunday to Sunday. What is that? So this person continues to stay in the house and be searching. Some have even resigned from high-profile works into minor ones, and their families are against them because they want their salvation to be their major priority. Of course, you cannot judge a book by its cover. So also God gave prohibitions before Samson was born. Now, before Samson was born, God has given his own precautions that this son must follow. And who was to train him? The parent. So Samson was to follow rules of a Nazarite or Nazirite. Later, I will explain the meaning of Nazirite. Females' powers of persuasion are a gift. A woman can easily seduce a man. A woman can easily persuade a man. If you are not disciplined, someone can even send a girl or any woman to come and then disgrace you. So females' powers of persuasion are a gift. It is a natural gift. They can influence men as long as they are touched. Once they touch you, and the way they will even touch you, it is not normal touching. The way the woman or the girl can or will touch you goes with influence. Quite a useful tool in seduction. women can easily seduce you. Meanwhile, it can be overcome by discipline. And when we say discipline, it means you are not a womanizer, you are not under the influence of Satan, you don't drink, no partying, a whole lot. Discipline will solve this problem. If you meet someone who is so disciplined, the person will not even allow you to come closer. So how will you touch him or her? Let's say you are married. You are married. Why should you even waste time to go and eat with someone being married or unmarried? You are married. If you want to eat, you eat from your own bowl. All socialization have ceased. You eat with your wife. When you go outside, you eat alone. Even nowadays, they package the food. So why should you mingle with others? Unnecessary pictures and others can mislead you. If you are disciplined, then women are even afraid to come closer or to come near you. They have heard your biography or your profile afar before coming to you. So the moment they sight you from a distance, then they know who you are. They have been oriented who you are. So they won't come closer. It is only discipline in which a man can use to overcome the influence and then the persuasion of a woman. Meanwhile, yes, okay, so that one has been said. It was Samson who gave Delilah a chance. It was Samson. Later we will know whether sometimes they debate who killed Samson. Was it Delilah or Philistines? We will see who killed Samson in these studies. It was Samson who gave Delilah a chance. He left a clearance, but the tolerance from God was never an allowance. So I've made mention of the clearance, the tolerance, and then allowance. What is engineering words? We're saying that Samson left a clearance. Now when we say clearance, we mean for something to be flexible, to go to and fro, can go in and then come back. The clearance. But the tolerance from God tolerated. Yesterday I mentioned that toleration is not acceptance. God, he tolerated King Solomon's polygamy. He did not agree or accept. So his clearance, he left a clearance, but the tolerance from God was not an allowance. That's what you must know. It was Samson who allowed Delilah in. God tolerated them, but he didn't approve. Delilah never loved Samson. Delilah, he never loved Samson. She used what she had, body weapon, a seduction, to gain what she wanted by defeating Samson for money. So Delilah never loved Samson. My fellow man or men, be careful how you walk as wise, not a fool, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. The will of the Lord is not to unite with a prostitute or a woman who uses others to make money. True love seeks no evil for other. True love seeks no evil. If Delilah truly loved Samson, why would she sell him? There was no true love. So true love seeks no evil for the other partner. It is not pagan socialization which will get you a better marriage or a good partner. Don't think that by going outside your faith will rather get you a good partner. You are mistaken. Even in your own faith, you didn't get. How much more an unbeliever? Someone who does not even know God at all. How much more? If not, why not? The stories of Samson serve as a symbol of brute strength, heroism, self-destruction, and romantic betrayal. Point C. God will give divine insight to parents, friends, and sometimes even total strangers to deliver warnings. So Samson was warned by her parents. Samson's parents warned him against pursuing both the Philistine women and Delilah. He was warned not to even go there, and also precisely on Delilah. But each time he defied them. He eschewed. He eschewed. It is not wrong to choose your own life partner. No book in this life, even in social studies, we are taught that the child has the right to choose his future partner, but his choice is subject to the father's approval. But his choice is subject to the father's approval. The father is the head of the family. So the book even didn't quote, but is subject to the mother's or the parents, rather the father. So the father has to decide. In fact, we are aware that women destroy children a lot. It is a fact. Many children who are spoiled, by finding average, most were trained by women. Women have been noted for destroying children and then babies. I mean, children and babies. Yeah, they've been, over-pampering them and others. So you have the right to choose your own partner. There's nothing wrong with it. Even in your own church, this choice must be subject to your father's approval. I'm sure Samson was warned, but he refused. We are just doing the introduction. You will see whether he was warned or not. If we reject wisdom, then God has no other choice than to let us endure the consequences. Choices have consequences. That's what you must note. Wisdom will always knock at the door, but we must answer it in order to benefit. Now, definition of pride. Let's go to Proverbs 3 verse 5a. I prefer to cite everything from the Bible. Proverbs. Very good. 3 verse 5a. No, B rather, sorry. And do not lean on your own understanding. So pride, number one, it is leaning on your own understanding. So the first definition of pride is Proverbs 3 verse 5b. Pride is leaning on your own understanding. 2. Proverbs 3 verse 7a. Be not wise in your own eyes. So a definition 2. It is being wise in your own eyes. Proverbs 3 verse 7a. And then I will summarize by saying pride is lack of humility. We are in a society. We have friends. We have siblings. We have other relatives. Anyone who refuses correction is a proud person. Is someone who has pride in his or her character. Will not let you even land your issue. Then he or she will conclude. It means he or she is full. There's no need anyone to help. You leave him. So pride is lack of humility. Anyone who is not humble is someone who is proud. Now, synopsis and purpose of the studies. 1. Who was Samson? Who was Samson? To understand why Samson was born, we will know why he was born. Why was Samson born? Why was he born at all? Then 3 or C, to know the fall of Samson. Of course, he fell. The fall of Samson. And then the last one, how to overcome Samson's personality. So the first one, who was Samson? His Hebrew name was Samson. Some will say Shimshon. S-H-I-M-S-H-O-N. Shimshon or Samson. if you want, the way you want to pronounce, meaning sunlight. So Judges 13, verse 24. Judges 13, verse 24. Judges 13, verse 24. I read. And the woman bore a son, and called his name Samson. And the young man grew, and the Lord blessed him. So the Hebrew word, as I'm saying, we don't read the Bible as a newspaper. You say, Father, I don't read the Bible as a newspaper. You must have a concordance. Good and better concordance. Not all the concordances are good. Look for the better one, and then you can use it. So Shimshon means Samson, which is reference to sunlight. 2 of who was Samson. His father was Manoah, and a barren mother. The Bible didn't mention his mother's name. The same Judges 13, verse 2 and 25. So verse 2. There was a certain man of Zorah, of the tribe of Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. So the Bible didn't mention the wife. It said the wife was barren. So the wife's name was not mentioned. We don't add, we don't subtract. And that's the policy of Church of Christ. I don't add, I don't subtract. Now verse 25 of the same chapter 13. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir. And the Spirit of the Lord began... Okay, it's okay. Let's even end at the verse 2. It's okay. I will use the verse 25 for different things. Now, point 3. He was the strongest man on earth. He was the strongest man on earth. Now, Judges 14, verse 5 and 6. Judges 14, verse 5 and 6. Then Samson went down with his father and mother to Timnah, and they came to the vineyards of Timnah. And behold, a lion came toward him, rolling. Verse 6. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and although he had nothing in his hand, he tore the lion in pieces as one tears a young goat. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. So the Bible said young lion. When we say young, we mean something which has energy. So it means that the lion was so strong, and then also had some energy in him. Young, energetic. 4. He was to be strictly Nazirite or Nazarite. We mean someone who is dedicated to God from the womb. No razor shall come upon his head. Go to Judges 13, verse 5. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. So he was a Nazirite, strictly Nazirite or Nazarite. Now, let's see something in Numbers. Now, if you want to know the laws of Nazirite, please read. I'm going to paraphrase it, but they are found from Numbers 6, verse 1 to 21. If you go to Numbers 6, verse 1 to 21, you will find the laws of Nazirite. So I've paraphrased them. I'm going to discuss them with you. Now, Nazirite comes from the Hebrew word Nazir. Nazir, Nazir, or Naziyr. So Nazirite comes from the Hebrew word Nazir, or Nauzier. Some would say Nauzier, which means consecrated. Consecrated or holy unto God. Now, so Nazirite refers to a Jew who has voluntarily took a vow or bounded by a vow to leave the hair uncut, to abstain from alcohol, and practices extraordinary purity of life and devotion. I repeat, a Nazirite refers to a Jew who has voluntarily, so voluntarily took, this one is not by compulsion, it's a volunteer thing, so you volunteer, so voluntarily took a vow or bounded by a vow to leave their hair uncut, to abstain from alcohol, and practices extraordinary purity of life and devotion unto God. Now, this vow required the person during this period of time to, one, abstain from all alcohol, all alcohol, and anything else made from grapes, alcohol or grapes. B, refraining from cutting the hair on one's head, but allow the locks of the head to grow. So now we can say Rasta. I have dreadlocks if you want. C, of vowing as a Nazirite or Nazarite. C, not to become ritually impure by contact with dead bodies. You can say corpses. Even your own family members, when they die, you don't go near it. It means you are impure. Or graves. The person must not come in contact with any corpse or grave. Even those, as I said, even those of family members. So these are the three strict rules every Nazarite or Nazirite must obey. Consecrated, holy unto God. Point 5 of who was Samson. He had long hair. His long hair was his strength. So Judges 16, verse 5. And the Lord of Philistine came up to her and said to her, seduce him, and see where his strength lies, and by what means we may overpower him, that we may bind him to humble him, and we will each give you 1,001 pieces of silver. So they were looking for his strength. At this point, Delilah never knew. And you see that, as I said, that Delilah never loved Samson. She sold him for money. And here she was promised 1,001 silver pieces or pieces of silver. So it was a business woman using what she had to gain what she wanted. And of course, if you go to the same Judges 16 verse 22, here Samson had been captured by the Philistines. So here he's saying that, but the hair of his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. Yes, even though the hair was shaved, but it regrew, or it grew again. It grew again. All right. So his hair was his strength. His wife was taken from him. Point 6 of who was Samson. His wife was taken from him and given to his companion. Judges 14 verse 20. Judges 14 verse 20. And Samson's wife was given to his companion who had been his best man. So initially, in fact, at times we can't blame Samson entirely. You see, we saying that easier said than done. How I wish, maybe I would have even done worse than what he did. He wanted to marry from his own homeland, but he was cheated. His wife was given to his own best man. And you can imagine this heartbreaking incidents. So he was angry in some ways that even my own, they have betrayed me. I'm not saying what he did was right, but at least he had a point there. His own wife, he wanted to marry from his own native land, but this woman was taken and given to a different person. Now, point 7, he later married Delilah. So Judges 14, verse 3 and 8. And here is where the trouble started. But his father and mother said to him, is there not a woman among the daughters of your relatives, or among all our people, that you must go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. Now go to verse 8. After some days, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. It's okay. My interest is that he turned to take her. So Delilah became his wife. I mean, by force wife. By force wife. Now, if you go to ecosystem, you have what we call commensalism. It's when one organism will benefit and then one will die. It is where we have a mutualism. So there was no mutualism, or there was no mutual love. It was commensalism. Delilah gained and Samson died. Commensalism, that's biology. Now, point 8. He was a womanizer and slept with harlot at Gaza. Judges 16, verse 1. So you have to know that Samson was a real womanizer. Samson went to Gaza, and there he saw a prostitute, and he went in to her. Yes. And even here, people were waiting to kill him. But of course, he managed to escape. Now, point 9. He died melancholy death. He died melancholy death. When we say melancholy, we mean sad and miserable. So Judges, this one is plenty, so I won't read everything. So Judges 16, verse 21. Judges 16, verse 16 to 21. 30 to 31. He died melancholy death. When we say melancholy, melancholy. Sad and miserable. Because then he was so miserable. I mean, strongest man, pa. He was then so miserable. Of course, he killed himself. It was Samson who killed himself. Initially, I was saying that. Who killed Samson? Delilah or Philistines? It was Samson who killed himself, and later we will know. So Samson killed himself. Please, don't proportionate this to the Philistines or Delilah. Samson killed himself. A man is his own enemy. Your most formidable enemy lies within you. Not Delilah, nor Philistines. He died with 3,000 Philistines. His brethren and household came and took his body and buried him beside his father. Now, the 10th point of who was Samson. He judged Israel for 20 years. Judges 16, verse 27 to 31. This one too I will not read. It's a longer passage. Judges 27 to 31 is saying that he judged Israel for 20 years. Just 20 years. His life was short due to pride and disrespect to his parent. Ephesians 6, verse 1 to 3. If you honor your parent, then you're going to prolong your lifespan. He died premature death. Same as Samson and King Solomon. B. Why was Samson born? Why was he born? We are going to look at his occupation. We're going to look at his vocation. Why was he born? To liberate the Israelites. Simple. So cheap. He was to liberate the Israelites from oppression. His career or vocation was to fight to kill the Philistines, liberating the Israelites from oppression. Now, Judges 13, verse 5 and 17. I think so. Let's read the verse 5. Okay. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. I think you all heard it. Okay. So that's that. Now, we move on by saying he was to use his strength for God's work. He was supposed to use his strength for God's work. Samson was called by the Lord to help free the Israelites. Once again, I'm still hammering that he was to free or to liberate the Israelites. Samson's mission, now based on this vocation or career, his mission required physical strength. And of course, God made a covenant with him that as long as you obey, as long as he obeyed the Lord, he would be physically strong. As long as God also made the same covenant with King Solomon. If you keep my commandment and statutes, walk in my ways. So you see, there's always a warning before distraction. There is always a warning before distraction. That's why I love God so much. If God is a Ghanaian, he will hide this caution to trap you. But God, of course, he is God. And we all don't know where he comes from. There is always a warning before distraction. He gives you the warning before distraction. Now, we have punishment and correction. If you're a student, they give you homework to go home and then do it, or assignment. So that one is correction. When you submit it, a teacher will mark and then will make some remarks. That one is correction. But in the exams, when you repeat the same mistakes, your work is cancelled or your script is not marked. There is always a warning before distraction. God will always correct us before punishment. So those of you who are somewhere saying that our God is a God of second chance, God is not always a God of second chance. You are being misled. He corrects before he punishes. Now, when you refuse to hear the warnings, he does not consider you. In case you don't know, if he wants you and due to pride and arrogance, you are wise in your own eyes, in your own ways, there is no consideration, no second chance. So put this in your mind and stop pampering yourself. That, even if I do it and I pray to God, he's going to forgive me. Willful sins are never forgiven. Now, see, the fall of Samson. The fall of Samson. Sin. Same as King Solomon. Sin of lust in womanizing. That's all. So point one, sin of lust in womanizing or womanizing. Lack of self-control. Samson loved with his eyes. And today, I will also prove why God did not allow the eyes to grow again. Don't say God is a God of second chance. Samson loved with his eyes, and you know why. The eyes were gouged out, or they were put out. He lusted after Delilah and stepped out of God's will for his life. He stepped out. You see, due to lust, he was blinded by lust. He desired to take a Philistine woman for his wife. He desire, a personal desire. I think, I know, yes. So no one should intervene. He desired to take a Philistine woman for his wife, which was an unacceptable practice for Israelites. Yesterday, we saw that King Solomon began to sin. Immediately, he took a second wife. And Samson also began to sin. Immediately, he took Delilah, or he lusted after Delilah. He was warned by those who loved him, but Samson persisted in his pursuit to have her. This relationship ended in rapid or fast divorce after she betrayed him to her people. Lust or lustful desire always warps our vision to really discern. There's no, you see, there's lust. Now let's consider an adult male who lusts a teenager girl. He is blindfolded. He is completely blindfolded. Nothing can redeem him unless Satan has finished using him to rape this teenager. Lustful desire always warps our vision to really discern. When we say warp or warps, we mean bending. I mean in engineering, warping or warp, bend. Yeah, when something bend or distort. Yes, bend or distort. It is in distortion where you find the warping. So when something is bent or bent, then we say warp. So Samson had a double vision here. Same as King Solomon. 7 masters. Now let's go to Judges 14 verse 4. His father and mother did not know that it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines. At that time, the Philistines ruled over Israel. I have to make some correction here. His father and mother did not know that it was from the Lord. So from the Lord, I'll make some correction there. And people will also debate that. But if God knew that Samson was to be misled by Delilah, why did he allow? We will. That's why it is teachings, not sermon. We're going to understand everything. Okay. Now, the phrase from the Lord. The phrase, we are on Judges 14 verse 4. The phrase from the Lord. So if you have a Bible, you can underline. From the Lord, in quotes, did not mean that this was God's will for him. Please. From the Lord. You see, you can't sit somewhere and then be justifying yourself ignorantly. From the Lord, the phrase did not mean that this was God's will for him. If this was so, then any Christian could say they could marry a non-Christian. But we have many clear scriptures warning us not to do this, both in the Old and New Testament. Now, this phrase shows that Samson rejected his main call for his life. But God had engineered different way to use Samson to accomplish his own plans. This alternative plan does not mean it was best for Samson, but that was the way God was using to defeat the Philistines. We should never think we can outsmart God. We need to be faithful. We need to be faithful to the one who has gifted us and use this gift as he has purposed. Do what God wants. Thou said the Lord. God first, before ours, not ours before God's. Remember Samson's foolish command to his father. Now, I'll begin from the verse 2. Judges 14 verse 2. Now, so some foolishness of Samson. As a command, he commanded his parents. Imagine a son or a child commanding his own parent to do what he wants by force. And this is all these are foolishness. So let's note. Get her for me, for she pleases me well. Now, Judges 14 verse 2. Then he came up and told his father and mother, I saw one of the daughters of the Philistines at Timnah. Now, get her for me as my wife. Now, get her for me as my wife. And see what the parents also asked. But the father and mother, verse 3, said to him, is there not any woman among the daughters of your relatives or among of our people that you must go to take a wife from the circumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. Get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. So, get her for me, for she pleases me well, or for she is right in my eyes. This was even against his parents' choice. How much more God? See what the parents will see their question. Is there no any other woman among your own than this uncircumcised Philistines or Philistine? So the parents were displeased. How much more God? Now notice the phrase, I saw. From Samson, I saw. This suggests personal interest. I saw. We're saying God first. When you grow and then you want to marry, you pray to God first. In fact, I must give this sermon. Searching for godly partner. Yes. And when I'm done with the teachings, I think I'll have to break for teachings and then be giving sermons. Searching for the godly partner or searching for godly partner. God first. The first is to pray. And he said, I saw. Which means his own choice, personal choice, and his pride. Initially, I said that even in social studies, the son or the child has the right to choose his or her life partner. But his choice or her choice is subject to the father's approval. If you're a girl, a boy, you are listening to me, be reasonable. Oh, my parents they are old. Their time have. What do you know that they don't know? What you are going to start? The love that you are now going to start. They began elsewhere, and you are the produce of this love. So what do you know? You, a child, what do you know? What have you achieved without the help of your parents? Your education, your mom breastfed you, your dad had to provide for you. Everything is and was from your parents. What do you know that your parents do not know? Even they have been saying that, and of course it is true that in the olden days, true love existed than now. In the olden days, true love, because love then was not based on money and materialism. Compared to this day, I mean, the youth, you must have everything before you marry. Some have money, but they can't marry because the wedding in their church is about 15,000 to 20,000 Ghana cedis and above. So they have the money, but they can't marry. Everything is money and wealth nowadays. How do you know that your parent does? That's why even the book, not the Bible, the book is saying that the choice you make must be subject to the father's approval. Unless maybe the parents are they hate this partner. Meanwhile, the boy or the girl is genuine. For that one is when you can, persist. But here, Samson was being stubborn. I make reference to stubbornness. Not when the parents have intentionally refused the marriage. But here, we are making reference to someone who is so stubborn. Samson was a stubborn son. B. Samson. You see, we are trying to analyze the point 1. That sin of lust in womanizing. Now here, we are making reference to a foolish speech from Samson. Get her for me, for she pleases me well, or for she is right in my eyes. B. Samson had mind, but no ears. Samson had mind, but no ears. He could not listen because his eyes were speaking so loudly. So Samson had mind, no ears. His eyes were speaking so loudly. He had a mind to make decisions, but no ears to listen to what others were telling him to do. No, he didn't like any correction. Someone who is proud hates correction, lacks humility. No humility is found in someone who is proud or proud. Sorry. 2 of why he fell: physical attraction. Physical, the same Judges 14 verse 2 to 4. Physical attraction. Physical attraction. Now the Bible is not condemning that don't marry someone who is beautiful. If you want someone who is fair, please go and marry the one who is. Because if you don't marry from your choice, you end up cheating on the wife. Don't compromise in love and then in marriage. If you don't compromise, there's nothing wrong. In fact, a man must marry a woman who is very beautiful. Normally, we men are underestimated by our friends and then even outsiders. So one day, when someone should follow you to your home and see your wife, precisely a girl or a woman who had been underestimating you at workplace or some kind of some vicinity. One day, this lady or woman sees your wife and she regrets to assume whether she was also created by God or not. She's so angry that she can't compare to your wife. In fact, she can use your wife as a mirror for makers. So a man must marry a woman who is beautiful. There is nothing wrong with it. I just say Father will not go and marry a woman who is ugly. I won't do it. I will never do that. Because if I should go and marry someone who is ugly, it means very soon I'll start to cheat on my wife. So go for your complexion. If you want fair, you go for it. If you want dark, extremely black, chocolate, even height, weight and size. Go for your choice. If you're a woman, go for your choice of a man. There's nothing wrong. Bible does not go against it. Because the men want to marry beautiful women, and the women also want men who are also handsome. Aside all jokes, please, sometimes we have to face realities of life or in life. But we are saying that looks can be deceiving. Looks can be deceiving. The Bible says that it was Delilah's beauty that fascinated Samson. And of course, it led him into sin. Yesterday, we said that sin is fascinating and assassinating. So, Samson was fascinated by Delilah's beauty, and this beauty led to his death. Sin is fascinating and assassinating. It was the beauty which killed Samson. Fascinating, assassinating. Very good, we move on. So physical attributes are terrible factors to base a relationship on. Please, I said that there's no way I'm going to marry a woman who is ugly. So also you should do. If you're a woman, don't marry a man who isn't handsome. But physical attraction can be deceiving. All that greatest too is not marrying someone who is beautiful, but someone who has a better attitude and character. Meanwhile, I will look for both beautiful plus character plus attitude. So here we say that physical attributes are terrible factors to base a relationship on. In the beginning, a person's looks may draw your attraction, but it is their heart that should be tested and weighed before committing long-term relationship. The heart. Is she a godly woman? Can she help me to go to heaven? Can he help me to... A man who studies the scriptures. A woman who loves to study the scriptures and do God's work. From Sunday, from church, she goes out to do personal visits. From Sunday morning, the husband wants to go and preach or to visit someone. They must be godly inclined. They live to worship their maker. Don't go marry a man who will instruct you to go home and then prepare food for him on Sunday. Sunday, of course, from church. The wife wants to go out to visit those who couldn't attend church. Or the husband said, my friend, go home and then prepare food for me. And what fufu is even starch. Sugar. Fufu or food. God is calling your wife And you are a human being, of which God has given you this woman, is saying that he must stop going to do his work to go and then prepare food for you. A man must be domesticated. You can also go home and then prepare your own fufu. I see it to be a sin to instruct my wife to stop going to do God's work and then prepare my supper or my lunch. I can prepare my own breakfast, lunch, and supper, and even for her as well, because she's going. Maybe I'm free. Let's say I'm free in the house, so Sunday after church I won't go anywhere. But the women are to go to prisons or to go somewhere. If we're a man who is reasonable, go home and then you also prepare food. I mean, what do you mean by she should stop going for the personal work and then prepare your food for you? You, who are you? It is a sin to me. I see it to be a sin. It means you are assuming the position of God Almighty. Go ye therefore. You are saying, sit ye therefore. If you go to many churches, they have refused to share the word of God. Go ye therefore. They say no. Sit ye therefore. So they have refused to do evangelism. So also marriage can also cause someone into apostasy. Initially, when you married, you saw that the man or the boy was good with Bible studies. Immediately they marry, the woman start to complain, "You don't have time for me, this and that, this and that." My friend, there's time for everything, even in the Bible. Ecclesiastes, there's time for everything. It's always about your husband giving you attention. There's time for everything. So the wife can go to the personal work. You can even change the fufu into a different menu. In the Bible is saying that wives must obey their husbands. But I see this to be a sin. When there's God and husband, we choose God and not the husband. When there's God and wife, we choose God, not the wife. We move on. For Joseph, you see that I am more particular. So people don't like me. I am a particular person. Yes. My yes is my yes. No is no. I lie to save no one. I will not lie to save anyone. The truth is what I am always saying. That's what my master has sent me to tell you. Now, we continue with Samson. So Samson had made a practice of compromising his morals and principles. So by the time Delilah walked into his life, there were no guardrails. You know guardrail. Something which will guide you in terms of maybe assessing a scaffold or a ladder, or maybe you are climbing. Guardrail to protect his heart. Her good looks were enough to give her access to the deepest part of him. Attraction can be deceitful. Attraction can be deceitful. Or looks. I mean, physical attraction is deceitful. So be careful. That's why I'm saying that if you're going for a wife who is beautiful, she must also have a good heart, better attitude as well. So there must be some kind of integration, not just one. So sometimes what starts off as something beautiful turns into something really ugly if you develop relationships that are only valuable on the surface. Samson's true love and downfall, Delilah, was sent by the Philistines to destroy him. Please, once again, those of us who want to marry women who are beautiful, those of us who want to marry men who are handsome, some might be gay, some might use the woman for even rituals. You know, nowadays everyone wants money, fame, and honor. Fake fame and honor. Fake wealth. Fake. They lie to deceit underground. And then by surface they appear to be angels. So your man can use you for rituals. Your woman can also use you for rituals. So be careful if you are seeking such avenues. With his heart on the line, Samson lost his hair and strength. Now, consequences of Samson's choices. Choices have consequences. So let's see the consequences. Consequence number 1, his eyes were gouged out. Some book will say put out. His eyes were gouged out. Now Judges 16 verse 21. And I said that I am going to prove why his eyes were put out and never regained his sight. God does not always give second chance, my listener. Judges 16 verse 21a. And the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza. They gouged out his eyes. Now, a similar thing happened to a man called Zedekiah. 1 Kings 25 verse 7. 1 Kings. I want to make some comparison, and then later I will explain. I'll give you an answer. Why his eyes were gouged out. I mean, what the meaning of his eyes being gouged out. This is how we said the Bible. So 1 Kings 25 verse 7. 1 Kings. 1 Kings 25 verse 7. Second Kings, sorry. 2 Kings 25 verse 7. Very good. Okay. They slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him in chains, and took him to Babylon. Let's compare the same thing to Judges 16, verse 21. Verse 21. And the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. And bound. You see that whenever... Now let's go to the 2 Kings 25 verse 7 again. And bound is where I want you to take note. They slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him in chains. And bound him in chains. So whenever your eyes are gouged out, you are still bound in chains. Now the same thing can be seen in Jeremiah 52 verse 11. He put out the eyes of Zedekiah and bound him in chains. And the king of Babylon took him to Babylon and put him in prison till the day of his death. And bound him in chains. And bound him in chains. So you see that Judges 16 verse 21. 2 Kings 25 verse 7. Jeremiah 52 verse 11 are all saying the same thing. So these are how to compare and contrast. So now we are on why was his eyes gouged out. To blind a man was the most effectual humiliation. So this should suggest humiliation. Why was his eyes gouged out? It suggests 1, humiliation. Humiliation. To be humiliated. Now, again, the reason for Samson's harsh punishment, we mean reference to his eyes being gouged out, is that Samson rebelled against God through his eyes by saying, get her for me, for she's right in my eyes. I mean Judges 14 verse 3 and then 7. Based on this, the Philistines put out his eyes. So number 1, humiliation. Number 2, he rebelled against God using his eyes. And then number 3, he saw Delilah with his eyes. So the Philistines also have to put out the eyes. We call this see no evil. My listener, I'm saying that no book No book is sweet or sweeter than studying the Bible. Never ever. It makes you so intelligent. See no evil, Samson. See no evil again. So God will not even allow the eyes to rule again for him to go and make another or second foolish choice. So his eyes were gouged out entirely. That's why the hair grew, but the eyes never came. Yes, he sinned or he rebelled. I won't even say he sinned. He rebelled against God using the eyes, because he went out to see. Therefore, the eyes were gouged out, and but if God was able to allow the hair to grow, God created. You see, we human beings, as I sit here, I am an artifact of God. He created me. At times you go to hospital and they say you have some tumor. By prayer or by God's intervention, the tumor will vanish away. These medical researches, they are into artificial intelligence. They don't compare themselves to God. I mean, who's a doctor and nurse to God? God created my body, so he has the right to have allowed the eyes to, develop again. But he was to be humiliated. God does not always give second chance. My listener, don't sit somewhere and say that God always gives second chance. Samson was to bear the consequences of his own choice. The choice he made was equal to death. That's why he died. So God gave him a weapon by growing the hair. The hair was to strengthen him, to kill himself. So Samson killed himself. That's why we say that he killed himself. He used his own strength, because the strength was to put into productive use. No, he was using for women. So if you are using for women, then you became by women. It's simple and clear. He rebelled against God using his eyes. So they had to put it out or gouge it out. And he was also bound in chains. So what humiliation, personal humiliation. I mean, strongest man now has no eyes to see. See no evil. He will no longer see evil again. Compromise is always equal to consequences. To compromise is equal to consequences. Samson compromised. So there was a transcendent, we call it transcendent consequences. Transcendent consequences. Sow in flesh, reap in corruption. You must reap what you have sown. Galatians 6 verse 7 and 8. Sow in flesh, reap in corruption. Man must reap what he sows. So I think by now it is clear why his eyes never grew again. Point 2 of consequences of Samson's sin. He ground in the prison house. Judges 16 verse 21. He ground. Of course, past tense of grind is ground, are not grinded. Those who are also listening for grammar purpose. Yeah, past tense of grind is ground, not grinded. That yesterday I grinded. Yesterday I ground. Yes. English has become the language of science and commerce throughout the world. The world is ruled by literacy. Language is a way of living. It is an individual, it is the individual's choice. You choose which language to use. To suit you. So Judges 16 verse 21. And the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. And he ground at the mill in the prison. You can imagine. Now we are also going to see the understanding or the meaning of him grinding in the prison yard. It was his continual work. Now this grinding was his continual work. Now it was the degrading work. Please, I'm explaining the grinding that he was doing. It was a degrading work of female slaves and housewives or housewife. The work that he was doing in the olden days belonged to a housewife or a female who had been captured as a slave. So Samson became a slave by grinding mill at the prison yard. You can read this from Exodus 11, verse 5. You see it there. Isaiah 47, verse 2. It is also there. Grinding corn for the household was the work of women. Matthew 24, verse 44. It's saying that 2 women will be grinding. One will go and then the other will remain. So grinding was for women. How can a man, strongest man, now blind, and secondly, now grinding, doing the work of a slave? So from grace to grass, pride. God resists the proud. So he has fallen from above to the ground. And when you fall, that's your end. There's no way, can someone never rise again? So also Samson, you will never rise again. Anyone who is pride, when you fall once and for all. All the rings that you glue, which prepared your flying into sky, they will all fall again. And then you fall down once and for all. It was pride. That's why the angel turned into devil. In fact, I think I have to have time to teach about pride. It was pride. Just pride though. That's why now we have Satan. Just pride, not anything. It was pride. That's why the angel turned into devil that we know. Right now, pride. And when he fell, you see that there's no way he's going to rise again. Satan will never rise again. So my fellow listener, pride is spiritual blindness. And when you fall down, there's no way you're going to stand again. Now we continue. Male prisoners and captives were sometimes condemned to this labor. So similarly, among the Romans, minor offenders were set to work at the public mills. See where Samson is now, doing the work of slaves, and then women, housewives, people who have been condemned in prison. It's the work that he's doing. Pride. It was pride which brought him this opportunity. Now, point 3 being the last one, he became an entertainer. Judges 16 verse 25. We are looking at the consequences of pride. 16 verse 25. I read. And when their hearts were merry, they said, call Samson. Sorry, please. Sorry. At times, it's funny. It's funny. And upon all this, people not say the Bible. And they are still repeating the same footsteps of Samson and then King Solomon. In this life, I've studied and known. So there's no way I will do it. And when their hearts were merry, it means when they have drunk. Then they said, call Samson, that he may entertain us. You can imagine the insults. So they called Samson out of the prison and he entertained them. They made him stand between the pillars. You see, when they have drunk and they were in merrymaking, in the olden days, no cinema was there. I mean, no TV was there. So they used Samson as a cinema. They had no television, so they were into what we call drama. This how come drama. We have drama in literature. If you should trace it. So all the prisons will have a big theater. Where sometimes they kill. As they are being killed, then they are happy. Some will even be betting. So the slaves or the prisoners were sometimes killed, either by horse. They were using any machines. It could be a cutlass, beheading, amputating, and others. They saw that as a drama. That's how come a drama also originated, and then now we have them in literature. Now into movies, acting, and that's how it came by. So there was no TV there, no cinema was there. So therefore, they were using their enemies for the merrymaking. So as I was saying, Samson was used as a cinema. Yes, he was used as a cinema. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. And behind an successful man, there's also a woman. And here is where women don't want to hear. Women are they are naturally hypocrites. They always want to be praised. They hate corrections. They don't want to be criticized. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. They will all shout hallelujah. They don't want to be responsible that when a man falls to is a woman. So behind every man who has succeeded, there's a woman. Behind every man who has not also succeeded, there's also a woman. And here we have seen that it was Delilah who did not allow Samson to succeed. In the Garden of Eden, it was Eve. It was Eve who brought a burden or calamity, division and disunity between Adam and then God. A man. Here I am warning you that be a man. Be a man. A man does not allow a woman to dictate to him or for him. It is impossible. You must be reasonable. When she speaks, you have to vet it. That's why mostly they are saying that men don't like advice. Yes, why should I accept immediately? I have to review it because I have to know the motive behind. And what do you mean by immediately I have to accept? No, I have to review because mostly, many a time, they don't reason afar. They are superficial viewers. I mean, just the surface, superficial, just the surface. Today or tomorrow, no, even today, not even tomorrow. Today, only today, not tomorrow and then beyond. So a man must vet what the wife or the female tells him. You must diagnose her information well before you act. Otherwise, you'll be seen as a fool. We will say that most downfall of men were caused or are caused by women. The downfall of a man is a woman. Yes. The downfall of Adam was Eve. Downfall of King Solomon were his fallen wives. Downfall of Samson is a woman. It is so clear that women are capable of collapsing a man's purpose in life. So clear. Yes. It is so clear. And we are also aware that if you do not go near them, I mean, they won't destroy you. That one is a fact. So you see that most womanizers, they have been cursed by some girls that they slept with, and their lives are now miserable. Yes, for all you know, a woman is not a curse unto man. So please have this in your mind. Woman is never a curse unto a man. She can be a curse or blessing, depending on your own way of reasoning. Yes. So these are the differences that you must know. That the intention of God creating Eve was not to let Adam fall. No. It was caused by Satan. So we're saying that men are always rigid and stubborn. So Satan is afraid of a man, naturally. Of course, I'm here with my Bible. So why can Satan attempt me to drink? Drinking is a sin. That's not why I will drink. If you see me drink, it means someone has cursed me. But in my right senses, I don't drink. I do not womanize. In my right senses, if you see me, so it means something's wrong somewhere. So Satan will not waste his time to come near me. But maybe he can channel through a woman or some girls. Of course, I'm disciplined. So, case closed. Game over there. Before you come, I am disciplined already. You can come and then take off your clothes and other. I don't know. I see you as a cartoon, officially. Yes. your nakedness cannot impress me. There's no way you can lure me with your nakedness. It is impossible. So we say that the downfall of most men is women. A permission to take in some water. I'm thirsty. Thank you for your time. Now we are on point D. D. How to overcome Samson's character. Point D. We're trying to overcome. Enough of the criticisms. Now let's see the way forward. 1. Do not give your strength to women. Now let's go to King Solomon. I'm not surprised when I saw this in Proverbs that King Solomon is now advising us. I wasn't surprised at all that King Solomon wrote this. Because he was more than a womanizer. He was more than a womanizer. I mean, King Solomon. So see what he wrote at the end of his life, or upon all his wastefulness. So Proverbs 31 verse 3. Proverbs 31 verse 3. Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings. Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings, or who destroy kings. Yes, so clear and transparent. Do not give your strength to women as a man. Samson first gave his strength to Delilah, and then she destroyed him. Point 2, resist the devil. Point 2, resist the devil. That's why I say a man should be, or must be disciplined. James, this one I read from the New Testament. James 4 verse 7. Yes, I read. Therefore submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist the devil. Resist Delilah in your life and she will flee from you. You see, the girls, normally, when they see that you don't fancy their half-naked dresses and others, they start to insult you, show you some attitude, and they call you names. You have resisted the devil. Yes, because they wanted to victimize you. And even though you saw, but you didn't watch. Me, when I see it, I won't watch. Of course, I will say it, but I won't watch. When we start to study about Dinah, you will see the difference between see, observe, and watch. Me, if I see it, I won't watch it. Because I see so many nakedness on television. Are you beautiful than the white that I see them in movies? I see them naked. It is a movie. So me, when I see that you are naked, you tell me nothing. Now, point 3 of how to overcome Samson's character. Distinct yourself. Distinct yourself. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 17. Distinct yourself. I said 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 6 verse 17. Distinct yourself. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord, and do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you. Distinct, when we say distinct, we mean to be kind. And to be kind means different. Distinct yourself from them. Come out from them, or come out from among them and separate. Distinct yourself. Be distinctive. Oh, okay, yes. That's why, because I was wondering the way he is. Not knowing he attends a Church of Christ. That's why, yes. Be distinctive in nature. Even to the point of becoming antisociable. They will call you names. Be careless. Point 4, self-control. Point 4, self-control. Galatians 5 verse 23. Self-control. Samson had no self-control. No self-control found in Samson. So Galatians 5 verse 23. Gentleness and self-control. Yes. Self-control. The fruit of the Spirit. Self-control. Point 5. Do not do evil for good to come out of it. Those who are debating that, why is it that God didn't prevent him from going to Philistine, but rather he used him to destroy them. This is your answer. Do not do evil for good to come out of it. Romans 3 verse 8. I said that Bible is not read as a graphic or newspaper. Don't read it the way you sit by your TV and then watching news. We study it. We do what we call exegesis. Do not do evil for good to come out of it. Yes, Romans 3 verse 8. And why not say, as we slanderously reported and as some affirm that we say, let us do evil that good may come. Their condemnation is just. Do not do evil for good to come out of it. It is not only in drinking spots where you can go and then preach the gospel there. The prostitute or the drunkard can also go to can also use a phone to listen to your preaching on radio. He or she can also watch TV, seeing you there preaching. She can even also watch me live on Facebook. I don't need to go to drinking spots to go there and then preach. Why are they even there? To drink and then make merry. So why are you also there? When you go there, none is going to listen to you. It is a waste of time. You may end up being even far above them. I mean, you become a advanced drunkard or prostitute there. If a man too, you call you a pimp. You see, a pimp is someone who has a female prostitute and they have been distributing for money. Pimp, P-I-M-P, pimp. I won't go to drinking spots. I don't even say, why should I even go? I remember last 2 years, December, there was a lady who was passing by my kiosk, and then she said that, hey, T, hey, but you're always cool. I see you to be so calm. Why are you so calm like that? Me, I cannot marry a man who is a calm person. So I was just telling her, I thought she had a problem because she wasn't my talking part. I mean, I was surprised. Now, the end was that she roast a tilapia at some, there's a fuel station around nearby where I stay. So she roasts a tilapia. So I can come and then sit down there, take one tilapia, buy one tilapia and then some coke or malt, and then I'll be enjoying. At least she was advising me that I should go out. It's in my head. Normally I don't like too much talking. I hate talking. And if you're talking to me and you're not being sensible, there's no way I will respond. Hey, you can talk and talk and talk and talk. I won't go. I will just be sitting down and watching you. You might think that I'm listening. My mind is also elsewhere. You are just wasting energy and time. Why should a Christian go and sit near a drinking spot, buy tilapia, and then enjoy with a Coke, Fanta malt, or let's say Don Simon? Come out from among them and be separate. This is called pruning. So if you're sitting there and there's an accident, you are all dead. How would they classify them? Those who were drinking at the drinking spots. That's how, because no camera was there to record, to know that You, Joseph, was there, and this man does not drink. This same tilapia. In case I even want to go and then buy, I will buy it, come and then eat it in my room. And of course, she was even wrong. Number one, I don't like tilapia. You see, the devil is not wise. I always say that devil is not wise. I don't like tilapia based on how it is spiced. They put in oil. I hate pepper, ginger, and others. So I don't like tilapia at all, unless maybe you are using for a soup in my own room, not what, because I hate pepper. And because of the smell, normally they add in more pepper. So I don't like it. Number two, I don't eat and drink Coke, Fanta, or Don Simon. When I eat, I drink water. So you see that she was wrong. Far away. Yes. Now, point 6. Do not put your trust in princes, nor in a son of man, in whom there's no help. Psalms 146, verse 3. Psalms 146, verse 3. Psalms 146, verse 3. I read, put not your trust in princes, in a son of man, in whom there's no salvation. Samson put his trust in Delilah, and there was no salvation for him. The last one, point 8. Allow God to direct your steps, delighting in it. We are still in Psalms 37, verse 23. Psalms 37, verse 2-3. The steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. Excellent. Transparently explained. Those are the 7 points in which you and I can use to overcome a Samson's character or his behavior. Now, conclusion and then application. Proverbs 14, verse 12. Let's read something here. Proverbs 14, verse 12. I read, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. Now, the same thing is found in Proverbs 16, verse 25. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is a way to death. So here, I paraphrase by saying, the death that will kill a man begins as an appetite. The death that will kill a man begins as an appetite. Samson saw his appetite in Delilah. Meanwhile, Delilah was his death warrant. So it was a trap, officially. The death that will kill a man begins as an appetite. So Proverbs 14, verse 12, 16, and 25. Delilah was Samson's death trap, death warrant. He never knew. Beware of frenemy. Judges 16, verse 18. Beware of frenemy. 16, verse 18. When Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up again, for he has told me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought the money in their hands. Beware of frenemy. Who is a frenemy? It's someone who pretends to be a friend, but is an actual enemy. Frenemy. Someone who pretends to be a friend, but he or she is an actual enemy. He fell in love with his own death warrant, Delilah. The death that will kill a man begins as an appetite. It was sex. Samson could not control his sexual drive. So it was sex, so just sex. That's why Samson died prematurely. Remember, Judges 16 verse 1 says that he went and slept with a prostitute. So Samson loved sex so much. And the Bible is saying that do not give your strength to women or those who will destroy you. Proverbs 31 verse 3. By King Solomon himself. Now point 3. Foresee the evil and flee from it. Foresee the evil and flee it. Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22 verse 3. Foresee evil and flee it, or flee from it. Foresee, foresight. Foresight isn't the same as vision. See, there's a vast difference between vision and foresight. Foresight will always surpass vision. Yes. Proverbs 22 verse 3. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. Be Samson. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. Samson. He did not see the danger. He had no. So Samson, in fact, I didn't want to go deeper. He had vision, but no foresight. Most have vision, but no foresight. He had no foresight in life. Point 4. Choices have consequences. Ecclesiastes 11, verse 9. We are still on King Solomon. Ecclesiastes 11, verse 9. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. Choices have consequences. Rejoice. In fact, I repeat it. I love it so much. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 9. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. You sit down somewhere and then be fooling. Someone will say that I'm fooling to some age, then I'll marry. Excellent. Choices have consequences. The same God who is giving you the privilege judges at the end. So be careful how you walk as wise, not a fool, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. So go to your party. In fact, the Bible has even said it, that rejoice in your youth. Walk in the ways of your eyes. But God will judge. So be careful how you choose. That's what we're saying. Choices have consequences. Samson made his. He was not given any second chance. He died. Please. Our God is not a God of second chance always. Eve and Adam were sacked from the garden. They were not given any second chance. Now, I think I'll prove this one. You are in my room. I've come and I've saw that you have caused a mess. So I'll take my key. Now, when I give you back the keys, it's the second chance I've been giving you. God sacked them from the garden. He did not give them the chance to go in again to still misbehave. They showed God attitude. I mean, if you read their answers, Eve was given an excuse. It was Satan. Adam, a man who was also supposed to be sensible, said, the woman that you gave me. It means they were accusing themselves, and God saw them to be frivolous. I mean, they were not serious in life. So, my friend, I will go and then continue with your foolishness elsewhere. So, they were sacked. If they were given a second chance, then they would have been reconsidered to stay in the garden. That's why I give an example that when I take my keys to my room and not given to you again, it means I didn't give you a second chance. So you sit down somewhere and then be fooling around and be comfortable that our God is a God of second chance because you heard someone using as a quote. Our God isn't a God of second chance. Now, in the flood, in terms of Noah, those who were in the ark were saved. Not those who were on top, those who were hanging. They were there when Noah was preaching to them about the flood. You see, they were giving him a history that it has been long since it rained. So how can the rain come and then fall to flood the whole earth? God is not a God of second chance all the time. Samson was not given any second chance. That's why the eyes did not grow again. He died. Based on his own choice, he died. Choices have consequences. So you be fooling around, be betting, be humanizing, drinking, going to dances and others. Join Freemason. Good. You die and you know where you go. Even your master, being Satan, is already in torment than you. So point 5 is saying that choose a partner or mate within your faith. Samson's decision of Delilah was a foolish choice against his parents' will. Already, I've said it. That's why they question him. Is there no any other woman? Now, choosing a spouse is so life-changing that it should not be based on your will, but on God's will. That's why I said, pray to God first. God first. When you have reached when you have to marry, pray to God first. And you, the woman, when the man has proposed to you, a man who has prayed and found you that you are, Akosia, or let's say, Josephine, or Mercy, I'm in love with you, I want to marry you. So, I pray to God. When the man has proposed, you must also take it into prayers to vet whether he's from Satan or from God. God first. So the first is that you must pray. I said I'll give you a sermon on choosing or searching for a godly partner. Yes, I think I will have to give sermon on it, and then you understand all what I'm saying. So your choice of partner is subject to God's will, and not from your own ambition. I'm a graduate, so I have to go. I'm a doctor, so I have to marry a nurse. I am holding HND. I have to marry someone who is having a degree. I'm a degree holder. I have to marry a man or a woman who is having masters. So. It must be God's will first. We can see here that marrying a man or woman who is outside your faith will bring so much trouble or troubles. If only Samson listened to his parents, he could have saved himself from a lot of pain and suffering. In the same way, Christians are commanded to learn from the life of Samson. We must not let our unstable emotions get the best of us. Marrying outside the faith is tantamount to going against the direct instructions of the Bible. So 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14 to 16. I will end my teachings here on Samson, blinded by pride. And at least I gave you 3 consequences resulting from his pride. Now, we are now left with the last teaching on Dinah. Avoid cheap popularity. I would treat it on Sunday for some reasons. I'll be busy from tomorrow, God's willing. So on Sunday, I'll come to you the same time, between 10 and 1. And then you will end it. When we are done with that one, I will start with some sermons. Before later, I'll come back to the teachings again. On that note, I'm grateful for all my viewers and listeners, and even those who are going to view and listen later. Thank you so much for making the time. Getting the money to do data and then be watching. I will see you again next time. My name is Joseph Atta, a member of Church of Christ. I thank all of you for your time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.